Hey everyone, this is Josh Carney from Carney Media Group and the Music Tech Help Guy YouTube channel. Recently I put up a video where I did a shootout between the Teletronix LA-2A, the Warm Audio WA-2A, and the Wave CLA-2A plugin for optical compression on vocals and bass. I recently got my hands on the Stam SA-2A unit, and I wanted to do a shootout and put this up against the WA-2A from Warm Audio, which is in a similar price range. In addition to doing a shootout between the two units to compare their tone, I'm also going to point out some of their technical differences. So first, let's listen to some audio examples. I have one example for vocals and one for bass guitar, the two things that the LA-2A units are most commonly used for. For all these examples, I'll play both the SA-2A and the WA-2A, as well as examples run through the Teletronix LA-2A unit and a dry signal as a reference. I should mention that the goal of this video is not necessarily to compare the real LA-2A to the Stam and Warm units, but rather to compare the Stam and Warm units, both of which are pretty faithful recreations of the original with some technical and tonal differences. Both the Stam and Warm Audio units are both priced around the $900 range, which is just shy of a quarter of the price of the original Teletronix LA-2A unit, priced at about $3,500. So we'll get more into the pricing and the technical specs later. Let's listen to some audio examples.
Couldn't look you in the eye. You look like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. Couldn't look you in the eye. You look like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. Couldn't look you in the eye. You look like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. Couldn't look you in the eye. You look like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here.
So now let's draw some conclusions about tonal differences between the Stam and warm units. Keep in mind that my conclusions are not drawn from just these two examples, but rather dozens of recordings and mixes that I've done using both the Stam and warm units, as well as the original LA-2A unit. They both do a great job of recreating the original LA-2A, but each with their own original character, so I find myself using them both on different material. First, let's talk about just overall tone. One of the characteristics of optical compression is a slow attack time, which often leads to a small amount of the front-end consonant sounds coming through on words. On vocals, the SA-2A let more of the transient material through, whereas the WA-2A seemed to have a quicker attack time, which seemed to flatten out some of the front-end transients. Overall, the Stam also seemed to keep more high-end emphasis from the dry signal, whereas the warm seemed to round off the high a bit. Interestingly enough, the Teletronics LA-2A seemed to be in between the two units in terms of front-end attack and brightness. And when I say brightness, I don't mean that in a bad way. None of the units sounded brittle in the high end. All of them have a nice silky smooth high end. On bass, the compression, leveling, and low end was virtually identical for both the SA-2A and the WA-2A units, as well as the LA-2A. The one small difference was the SA-2A seemed to have slightly more punch on the front end of notes than the WA-2A did, and the SA-2A's handling of bass guitar was almost identical to that of the LA-2A. Let's quickly look at the pricing and technical differences. The Stam SA-2A runs $890 US, and it's available on the Stam Audio website. And the Warm Audio WA-2A runs $899 US and is available on a number of websites like Sweetwater and Guitar Center. So the pricing is very competitive and very similar, but both units are drastically cheaper than the original LA-2A. Both units have the same kinetic T4B optical attenuator, which is the closest T4B replica available of the original Yuri T4B and the most important component in the units. One knock against the SA-2A is that it doesn't have a pre-emphasis control on the back like the Warm unit does. This controls how high-frequency signals are compressed. The R37 pre-emphasis adjustment is a result of the LA-2A originally being used as a broadcast compression unit. For musical recordings, this is usually left flat, so basically turned all the way to hard right, as I did for all the examples shown in the video. However, for that one disadvantage, the SA-2A makes up for it in a few ways. The SA-2A uses a Souder 1449 input transformer as opposed to the Cinemag transformer used by the WA-2A, which is why the SA-2A seemed to have better level handling capacity in my tests and my use. Both units have Cinemag output transformers, however the SA-2A can be upgraded with a beefier Souder output transformer for an extra $100. However, it should be noted that the input transformer will have more of an effect on the tone. The tubes are also slightly different in the two units. The SA-2A uses two JJ12AX7 tubes, one Electro-Harmonix 12BH7, and one NOS 6AQ5 tube, while the WA-2A uses two Tungsol 12AX7 tubes, the same EH12BH7, and an NOS 6P1J. A couple hardware advantages of the SA-2A are that it uses a Solon fast output capacitor, whereas the Warm unit uses a cheaper Chinese-made one. The SA-2A also uses Allen Bradley NOS carbon resistors, just like the original LA-2A. So with all the technical differences out of the way, let me draw some overall conclusions about the two units. The Stam unit actually seems to be closer to the original LA-2A in terms of parts, tone, and functionality, and uses some higher quality parts, but it is a bit brighter. The Warm unit seems to be a bit darker on sources than the original LA-2A, and seems to get a bit boxy sounding on some sources as well. I also found that the Stam unit had a better time handling high levels and higher gain, probably because of the Souder input transformer. The Warm seemed to get a bit more pumping sounding at higher compression levels. With all that said, both units are really great units for opto compression, and both are pretty faithful to the original. I find myself using the Stam unit more because it seems to be better suited for more aggressive and brighter vocals that I tend to work with on a regular basis, like rock, metal, and pop music, where you want some of the attack of the consonants and diction of the words to come through better in the mix. The Warm unit seems to be more suited for softer or subdued vocals and for acoustic music. It really shines on softer vocals and creates a really lush, rich vocal tone, but you can't really drive it or compress it as much as the Stam or the original LA-2A, but as long as you work within those limitations, you'll be fine. And it also has the pre-emphasis knob right on the back of the box, so you can tame down brighter frequencies if you do find yourself needing to, similar to a de-esser. With the Stam unit, I find myself relying more on EQ to tame down the high end. So again, I can't stress this enough, both units are great replicas, and both are more than $2,500 less than the original. The biggest bonus is the price. I've tried to remain as objective as I possibly can with this comparison, but audio character and tonal quality is always a highly subjective topic, with opinion and personal taste always being a factor. One thing is for sure, both units absolutely kill any vocal compression plugin that I have, and both are a great way to jump into the world of analog mixing and tracking. Links to where you can buy both units are included in the video description below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.